But what I wanted to try first, I just had to run in there looking like a total dirt ball. What are these called? Hey, hi, hello friends. Welcome back to my channel. Buckle up, kids, because today is a DIY that was almost a disaster. We are going to be giving this antique steamer trunk a complete makeover. We bought this from a junk shop some years ago for, I believe, around 40 bucks. It has been stored out in our garage up until this point, so I'm just going in with some Dawn Power Wash spray and getting the bottom of this thing all unfunked. I'm then going to use just some simple green degreaser spray all over the rest of it, get it scrubbed down, make sure that it's clean and ready to take paint. It's not in too bad a shape. One of the handles, as you can see right here in this shot, is missing, but it was like that when we got it. Overall, the inside is actually really nice, and we have previously just used it to store a bunch of blankets and quilts in. It's going to be going into our guest bedroom that we are in the process of making over. We will get there slowly but surely, but this is a fun thrifted piece, and I can't wait to show you guys how it turns out. I was super excited to try Fusion paint finally for the first time. I've never used it before, but you can see right here is the moment where I realized that I have totally picked the wrong color. This was not the shade that I thought it was. I should have done my research. So as with all bad decisions that I've made, and there are thousands, trust, I just keep thinking to myself, this paint color will be different when it dries. Maybe it'll look totally different once I get the whole trunk painted. Maybe it's my eyes playing tricks on me. Maybe it's the lighting in here. Knowing full well that this color is completely wrong for the room, the decor, everything that I have going on in this guest bedroom makeover. But at this point, I am full in, so I just keep thinking to myself, I'll just paint the whole thing. It'll be like a primer coat, and I'll come up with some cockamamie scheme to cover this up and make it the right color, or more the color that I was going for. Okay, so update. Love this. This is the first time I've ever used Fusion paint on anything, any project ever, and I wish I would have just tried it sooner, because this is one coat, and it's a little tiny bit went such a long way. I wonder if I have lunch in my teeth. But I should have, when I was standing in the store trying to decide on a color, I should have Googled and read like the undertones. I know better. I've made this same mistake before, but I didn't think about it. And this shade, this soapstone, is gorgeous, but it's totally not what I was going for with this piece. I could have went today and got one of the darker shades, but what I wanted to try first was to see if I can take a little bit of this pigment that I got in pure black and mix with some of this just to test it out. Worst case scenario, it's only noon. I have until, I think, 5 p.m. that I could go and just run to the place where I got this and get a darker shade. Let's try this little recipe and see what we come up with and go from there. Everyone that is totally shocked that my little paint recipe scheme didn't work, raise your hand. Yeah, so I just had to run back to the store, the only retailer near me that carries the Fusion paint. Luckily, it's right here, like close to me, but I just had to run in there looking like a total dirt ball. I have paint all underneath my fingernails, so I look like a grub worm. And they also didn't have the color that I had decided on that I should have gotten the first time. So, no, you cannot get in here. So, we're gonna go a little bit darker. I think it'll be fine.
Right here under the thumb of a cold air, a calling from something that's out there somewhere, wondering when we'll
So next day, first coat is on. I have about half of these left. I've been going around with this teeny tiny brush, but it's working perfectly because it's very flexible, and I can load it up with paint really good, and then I can get around all the little edges. And some of these are lifted from the surface, like they're away from the surface of the trunk a little bit. So this is working perfectly. It's just taking forever. But I think the good news is that where I went around with this, the paint seemed to have applied slightly thicker than what I did on the rest of the surface of the trunk. So I don't think I will have to make a second trip around once I get all these pieces. And I don't care if it looks a little bit distressed or uneven, but I am going to have to go back through later this afternoon and do a second coat in some areas on this, because I want it to look I don't want it to look thin, but I also don't care if it's very like perfect and uniform. That's not really the look that we're going for. So, and then hopefully we can finish up the paint part this afternoon, and then I would like to get started on these. I got some really cool metallic paint. I'm excited to see the contrast once the paint and all the hinges and the what are these called?
But we set out to walk 1,000 good miles from our hometown, leaving everyone behind as their slow fires died down. Once we left, we found it harder and harder to slow down, 'cause we set out to walk 1,000 good miles.
So I grabbed up this metallic paint in the shade Antique Bronze, I believe it was, from Michael's, and it was relatively easy to work with. I didn't want to completely paint all of the hardware to where it looked brand new and shiny. I kind of just wanted to paint the parts that should have been not worn looking and leave the rest. I just used a little craft brush, and the easiest way to work with this paint was just to kind of smush it, basically. It's kind of a goopy gel consistency, but it dries really fast, and it was pretty easy to give it a really weathered look.
We found it harder and harder to slow down, 'cause we set out to walk 1,000 good miles from our hometown, 1,000 good miles. The years have come.
I'm honestly glad that they did not have the shade of gray that I went back for the second time, because this coal black turned out to be absolutely perfect. I think with the gold bronze look of the hardware, it makes it pop. It's a great statement piece for the corner of this guest bedroom. I had to go ahead and push it in here, get the top of it kind of styled, because I wanted to see what it was going to look like in the morning sunlight. I cannot wait to see the rest of this room come together. Not quite ready to do the reveal. I'm still working on sewing the curtains, and we do have Turkey Day coming up, so stay tuned. I'm super excited to show you guys all the rest of the pieces of this guest bedroom makeover.